That snaps for losers, man. I don't get involved in that stuff, but
Angel Rashad Milligan rolling out.
That's a good question.
Brandon,
We
you want one
can't, we
quick
can't, we
question?
can't ask Rashad questions.
Gonna go to my hometown of Atlanta with the Atlantic Civic Circle. And this story was written with the help of my good friend and former colleague, Mr. Sean Keenan. Shout out to Sean Keenan. Journalists' demand for Cop City records puts Atlanta Police Foundation secrecy on trial. The case could set a landmark precedent. To what extent are private groups that do government business subject to Georgia open record laws? By Alexandro Maraxi Sassoon and Sean Keenan. A judge will soon rule in a major press freedom case that could clarify to what extent private groups doing government businesses are subject to the state's open records laws. First of all, shouts out to all my people on the front lines fighting against Cop City and have been for years now. Have gone through one of the activists losing their lives. Activists, you know what I'm saying, quitting their jobs and dedicating their entire kind of livelihoods to the greater good of the local community, the people, the residents of DeKalb County, and the residents of the city of Atlanta and the metro area as well. Salute to all of them because they've been putting in the work for years. They've invited me out to cover some stuff and everything, and a lot of times I'm like, oh, I got this, I got that, got to do this for it, I got to do this for it. But you know, I have covered a couple of them before, and yeah, I just really, I don't know, I just really respect them. Just like their dedication to the cause and the people around the country as well who have also come to help Atlanta in this. For those of y'all who don't know, let me give y'all some background on Cop City. Cop City it's like this big kind of football field like facility, or even more than a football field facility, that's going to include a mock city for police to train of how to deal with protests downtown and stuff like that. You know, obviously after 2020 with the mass protesting around the city, especially with Rayshard Brooks, long live Rayshard Brooks, everything like that. You know, I guess the cops didn't know how to deal with that, so they're gonna build this multi-million-dollar facility, kind of like $250 million facility, kind of combat against that. And instead of going to using that money to go to community services of how to deal with, you know, someone like a Rayshard Brooks who might have had one too many drinks and he's trying to sit in the car and cool off in the Wendy's parking lot before he walks home or something like that, or you know, whatever. You can go down the line of cases and things of that sort. It doesn't have to end the way that they have tragically ended. Instead of putting money to those initiatives, you decide to just give more money to the police society. So now you see, if you don't see why the people are mad and what Cop City is, if you're on the outside looking in. But yeah, anyways, back to the story. A Georgia judge will soon rule a major press freedom case that could clarify to what extent private groups doing government business are subject to the state's open record laws. In January 2024, the Atlanta Community Press Collective, ACPC, and Lucy Parsons Labs, a Chicago think tank advocating for government transparency, sued the nonprofit Atlanta Police Foundation in Fulton County Superior Court, alleging that the powerful police lobby had unlawfully withheld records about the controversial Atlanta Public Safety Training Center, also known as Cop City. The lawsuit revolves around 15 records requests that the ACPC and Lucy Parsons Labs filed, with the police foundation, seeking emails about the training center's construction on city-owned land, as well as board meeting agendas and meetings. The Atlanta Police Foundation refused to turn over most of the records, citing its status as private nonprofit. The plaintiffs are seeking a court order for Police Foundation to produce the requested records and hundreds of thousands of dollars in attorney fees. During a 2-day bench trial last week, ACPC argued that the Police Foundation's close ties to the Atlanta Police Department makes it work in a matter of public interest and subject to public inspection. The Police Foundation built APD's hotly contested new training center and also fundraises and helps recruit for the police department. The Atlanta Police Foundation countered that it should not be subject to open records requests because it also supports non-governmental community groups and businesses, making it just another private nonprofit. It also manages Promise Youth Centers programming, for instance. Fulton County Superior Court Judge Jane Barwick's ruling, expected later this month, could either establish a legal precedent empowering people to probe deeper into public private partnerships like that between the city of Atlanta and the Atlanta Police Foundation, or further shield private entities working with local government agencies in Georgia from scrutiny, said Samantha Hamilton, the ACPC attorney who filed the case. A different kind of nonprofit. This is Georgia's first public records trial, testing the access to internal workings of a nonprofit so deeply intertwined with the government agency, Hamilton told Atlantic Civic Circle. ACPC argued that Police Foundation isn't just another private nonprofit, as the Police Foundation's professions to be. Rather, its sole purpose is to support the Atlanta's police department. Dun dun dun. The Atlanta City Council, which approved $67 million in public funding for the $115 million training center, recognizes that the Police Foundations as APD's sole authorized fundraiser. Oh my gosh. It is raising the remainder of their training center money from Atlanta corporate and philanthropic donors. Excuse me. I'm sorry, I got tongue tied. The Atlanta Police Foundation's donors include Chick-fil-A, no, the Coca-Cola Company, no, Delta Airlines, I fly Delta all the time, Georgia Power, Home Depot, Arthur Blank, the James M. Cox Foundation, the philanthropic arm of Cox Enterprises, AJC, which also owns the AJC. Oh my gosh. Is there any Chick-fil-A that calls itself the Atlanta Chick-fil-A Police Foundation and only serves chicken nuggets to local police? You better say that. ACP lawyer Joe Ramseth of Ramseth Legal asked the Atlanta City Council member Leilana Beccatari, whom ACPC called to testify. No, replied Beccatari, one of the only city council members to vote against funding the training center in June 2023. Can the public see the APF's records for a municipal project? They should be able to. It makes sense, right? We'll see. Georgia's Open Records Act defines public record as any document prepared by or in custody of a government agency or a private person or entity in the performance of a service or function for or on behalf of the government. So, example of this in the entertainment world, a lot of people were asking DDG, why didn't he just go to the courts? Why didn't he just go to the court and fight for custody and share custody or legal rights to seeing his son Halo alongside Holly Bailey? And he said, as a public figure, as a famous guy, as someone who gets every single piece of his personal life and everything that he puts on the internet critiqued, analyzed, and everything like that, he really didn't want to risk ruining or hurting the image of the Disney princess, the Little Mermaid, and the artist, the solo artist whose first solo single was named Angel, and she portrayed herself as an angel, to see anything that blemishes her name. And he didn't want their public business, their private business, and their relationship out for the public and shade room and for all these blogs to read. So, a private person or entity in the performance of a service or function for or on behalf of the government, all that stuff is open record. It's the reason why you can get Young Doug's phone calls on the shade room, and you can see Mariah the scientist say, "Daddy, am I your baby?" All of those phone calls and things that continue to get leaked and to continue to go out are literally just people put in open records requests to receive that footage because it's all under government stuff. So that's exactly what this is for those of you, just to give you 4D. Because the Atlanta Police Foundation spearheaded a development that relies on at least $67 million in taxpayer funds and is built on city land, the general public should be able to audit that spending and related discussions, ACP's executive director, Matt Scott, testified. Since this announcement in 2021, the now completed police training center, oh my goodness, this sparked government transparency concerns in years of protests, mostly peaceful, although a few have turned destructive. ACPC's May 2023 revelations that the training center would cost taxpayers more than double the Police Foundation's initial $30 million projection, fueled by the grassroots of the Stop Cop City movement. That blockbuster came from ACPC's open records request to the city of Atlanta. So you wouldn't even know that you spending more than what you thought you would spend, or this thing is costing more than what you thought it cost, or more millions is being put into this than what you thought it was, if it wasn't for the open records request, if it wasn't for journalists like Sean Keenan to let you know these things. This is what they're trying not to let you know. Yeah, I think we're gonna have to get 500 more million. Our taxes going up. Tell them to blame Trump. The news organization also revealed details about the progress of the training center's construction in the face of stiff public oppression. That included a last-ditch effort to get a referendum on the ballot for voters to decide whether it should be built, which has been stalled by the city of Atlanta. At the bench trial, the Police Foundation argued that ACPC and others should be denied access to its records pertaining to the training center by contending that the news outlets reporting on the field that the news outlet reporting has fueled harassment campaigns by stopgap city activists against the project's construction contractors, such as Brasfield and Gorey and Ernest Concrete. So they're like, please stop. Don't let them know what we're doing. You're messing it up. These people over here, Stopgap City, we not giving you no more money. Y'all bad people. We don't want them to know that we're bad people. Stop with the open records requests. Allowing ACPC more access to the Atlanta Police Foundation's internal records could produce more unrest and harassment. It's like, we're fighting for the right things. Stop making the people fight for the right. Internal records could produce more unrest and harassment, said the nonprofit's lawyer, Harold Melton of Charlton Pepper, a former Georgia Supreme Court Chief Justice. Atlanta Police Foundation CEO Dave Wilkinson echoed those concerns. This organization was complicit in anarchy and terrorism and all the nonsense that is going on. He testified for the nonprofit on April 4th, accusing the ACPC of trying to intimidate and terrorize his organization's poor donors, contractors, and staff. How dare you speak against the people putting millions and millions of dollars into this project that is going to... Wilkinson said the Police Foundation's project manager for the training center, Alan Williams, testified that Stopgap City activists have confronted them both at home and at job sites. They pelted my truck with rocks. Oh, man. He wouldn't let me alone. Those kids, what they say, knowledge is power. Knowledge is dangerous. The most dangerous things are hidden in a book. They pelted my truck with rocks, Williams said, saying the highly trained and highly organized demonstrators threw rocks and fruit at him. They visited my mind for the next few years. But what's at issue is the Police Foundation's interpretation of Georgia law, not how activist groups may or may not respond to ACPC's reporting, Ramsay emphasized. In other words, she said ACPC's motivation or that other members of the public is irrelevant. Instead, what matters is the public interest value of the Police Foundation's records about the training center. We just want to know the numbers. The requesters are journalists and researchers, not terrorists or criminals. I ain't got nothing to do with them people throwing no rocks and fruit at you just because they read. Be mad at them for reading. Be mad at the educational system. Be mad at APS. Be mad at the Cobb County schools. Don't be mad at me because they know how to read. Ramsay said during the closing arguments, adding that the Georgia Open Records Act does not discriminate who the requester is. Shouts out to the young boys, man. Shouts out to Alessandro. And shouts out to my guy, Sean Keenan. Sean, I love you, brother, forever. You know, I always got you, just like you had me at the beginning of the year. If you know, you know. But yeah, for sure. But that's it, man. That's all I got for today. If you are new to the channel, once again, this is the Road to 5K Subs. My name is Rashad Milligan. Until next time, please take care of yourselves. I will see you all tomorrow.
That's for losers, man. I don't get involved in that stuff, but
Angel Rashad Milligan rolling out.
That's a good question.
Brandon,
We can't ask Rashad questions.
Hey, Rashad.